Alright, I want to teach you about wormwood. Wormwood, here's some wormwood right here. This is wormwood. Has a very distinctive smell. You'll recognize it. And you'll notice something about wormwood. Nothing eats it, right? That's one thing I noticed, like, wow, why doesn't anything eat wormwood? Well, it's not a herb that you can eat, but it actually has medicinal properties. If you got sore, aches, anything else, you can compact it, right? Get all the moisture out. And as I'm rubbing it here, I can feel the wetness, right? Right, there it is, look. I don't know if you can see that, but it's wet, right? And wherever you have a pain, let's say I've got a pain on my chest, which I do, I have a cracked rib, right? You can actually put it on your external. So it's a good external medicinal. Now, that's not the point of my talk right now. What I want to talk about is actually something else. So it's actually creating a great insect repellent, right? Natural organic insect repellent for your pumpkins or watermelons or anything else that insects love, cabbages, for example. And if you use this, it's gonna really work. So the first thing you're gonna do is this. You're gonna find yourself an old pillowcase or bag or anything else that's porous, right? It needs to be porous, okay? And you're gonna stuff it, as I've done here, with wormwood. Okay, here's wormwood, and I've got it growing. Well, I've got some of it's growing there, but I had a lot of it here in this corner, and I just basically weeded here, and I've stuffed this pillowcase in it. Now, what I'm going to do with it next is this. I'm going to stick the wormwood with the pillowcase into a container with water, and then what I'm going to do is place a heavy object on top of it. That's going to speed up the decomposition by compressing it. So it's going to look like this. Well, you're probably not going to see it because it's going to be in the water, but that's what I'm going to do now. So here it is submerged. Now you have to understand that this is a lot more than just an insect repellent. It's actually worm tea too, because what I'm cooking over here, you don't need any fancy pumps or anything else. It's basically worm tea. Now what is worm tea? And what I'm going to do is actually mix this in with this insect repellent. So what I'm going to have is this super basically worm tea plus insect repellent that is going to do two things. It's not only going to nourish the plants, but it's also going to help them super grow. This is permaculture, and permaculture is all about observing. Now, you're not going to find anything about wormwood fertilizer or insect repellent, because I basically last year was looking around. I was like, wow, this wormwood is growing everywhere and nothing's hurting it. And here's some right here. I got it growing everywhere. Here's some wormwood. Oh, that's not wormwood, that's clover. Here's some wormwood. And you can tell it from the smell and the simple fact that nothing eats it. And I tried it and I was curious if it works. You have to understand that up to 80% of new growth of plants absorbs water that's poured onto it. So if you pour pesticides or herbicides like Roundup around or near your plants, guess what? They're taking it in, and it's in your tomatoes or whatever it is. So you really don't want to use pesticides and herbicides if you want to have the best food possible. Another thing is basically this. Like, let me show you this. Maybe you have an apple tree or young, seedlings like this apple tree, and you'll notice this apple tree is actually doing pretty good. Why it's doing well is because I've got garlic around it. Here's garlic that I have growing up, and garlic's actually great. You can just eat the leaves too. But if I pour my wormwood mix onto this, you'll notice that basically it's going to get rid of all. Now I want to compare this. Look at this apple tree, and I'll compare this one here, which doesn't have. Now take a look at this one here. This one's got all sorts of animals eating on it, munching on it, right? Look at that. Now, it only has some onion up here, not enough. It needs to be all around it, okay? And I can show you another example. Remember that first apple tree that I showed you? Well, here it is over here, right? Literally just a couple feet away, 3 feet, 4 feet away is another one. And you notice this one's gotten eaten up quite a bit. Like, look at this leaf right here and so on. It's been eaten up. Now, if I use my worm tea, wormwood tea, and here's some wormwood here. And something else you can do, which I do, is you can pull up the wormwood, all right, like here, and actually put it down as ground cover. Now I've got tiles on here, bricks, to encourage insects, beneficial insects, to basically keep away aphids, right? You'll notice there's no aphids on this. Well, because I have under here, I bet, let's see here, we can take a look real quick. What do I have under here? Right? Well, I thought I'd have roly-polies, but I don't. I bet there is. Probably it's hot, and they're actually further down. But the whole idea is to encourage, like, roly-polies, which will eat, you know, aphids, away from them. So take a look at this over here. Here's another apple tree, and you'll notice all around, again, is garlic. This is garlic all around growing, and it has very little insects eating it. Now, when I start putting wormwood solution on this, it's probably gonna even have less, right, on there.